Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so got to get comfy in my squeaky
Yeah.
chair. So good. What is it? Good evening. I don't know. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world, wherever you're watching this. Welcome to our Wednesday wisdom, the midweek musings, I call it.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm really excited this evening because I've got a guest speaker, which is great because I really don't like speaking to camera on my own. And Lorraine, who I've known for ages, actually, no, I've literally only, we met, I don't know, a few weeks ago
Yeah.
online in a platform in our school group. And so I'm quite excited because I want to hear more about Lorraine's story.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've met in the last couple of months. What do I know about Lorraine? She's a hairdresser. She lives in Yorkshire. She's got a beautiful accent.
Thank you.
And the reason invited Lorraine was because I heard her talking about her kind of, I called it a divine download, which
Mm.
is, when you get something that lands that comes to you out of the blue. And Lorraine had this experience of this download showing up, which has basically set her on a whole new path. And I think that's really exciting,
Mm.
especially when ladies of a certain age that we are,
Mm.
we set off on something new. I think that needs to be, celebrated.
Mm.
So, um, I'm going to stop waffling and I'm going to hand over to Lorraine, and I'd like you to just tell us a little bit about your divine download.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, so how it came about. I mean, I think to set the scene a little bit, I've always been interested in personal development, always been interested in people, always been in customer service. And I just started to, and this was before I came across the principles or anything. I just basically just started asking myself a question: what could I do alongside my hairdressing? And I just left it. I just left it like that. And just every now and again, I'd keep asking that question. And then just one night, I think I was just stood washing the pots. I just had this, coaching came into my head, and I was stood there, coaching. What's coaching? I mean, I've heard of counselors, therapists, and everything, but not coaching. So curiosity got the better of me. Googled it, and I just thought, wow, that is me. That's something I would really love to do. I thought, imagining waking up every day and doing something like that. And so that's how it came about. And from there, what I did was I started looking at different coaches, and I came across David Key, and he was doing a free masterclass. So I joined that, listened to it. He didn't give much away apart from this conversation, so that got me really curious. But he did mention George Pransky. So as soon as
Okay.
I came off, I googled George, found him on YouTube, and started listening to George, and I was sort of fascinated with it. And then he gave the Sydney Banks, so I listened to the Sid, and that was it. I was just kind of blown away from it. I thought, wow, this kind of like explains human experience.
Okay.
And and that was quite interesting for me because before I've always in fact I've always been known as a very, very deep thinker. People would always say to me, Lorraine, you think too deeply about things. And I said, well, I can't help it. I said, it's just, where I am. But after listening to Sid, I kind of, I just got it straight away. And I think probably for about 2 or 3 weeks, I really did come to a place of just feeling really peaceful. And I wasn't caught up in my head. And it was lovely. It was just so refreshing. And yeah, just started following him. But then I lost it again. And I
Okay.
started the old habit of going back into my
Yeah.
thoughts again.
So
But
can we
yeah.
backtrack a bit? When
Mm,
you because when you had that thought about coaching,
mm.
what did you I want it's a funny question. What did you put in Google?
I just put I don't even put a life coach. I just put in coaching, and then a couple of academies came up,
Okay,
and then I just clicked on the link, and then it was giving a rundown of what coaching was, and I thought, oh
right.
yeah, yeah,
Because there's so many, aren't there? There's so many
yeah,
different schools of coaching or
yeah,
branches or approaches or what have you.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, and don't you think it's amazing though, with all those different schools of coaching and
mm,
ideas about coaching, that you were drawn to David Keyes and his approach, even
mm,
without really, I think you said he didn't give much away, or that was in the
no.
masterclass, wasn't it? But
Yeah, yeah, he didn't give much away at all.
yeah,
And I knew he was quite, it's quite, he does a lot of training, does David Key. So, okay, then I'll go with this one. And it was really, really bizarre how he just didn't give anything away apart from this conversation and how much money he'd paid to go across to America. And then he just gave his name away once. George Pransky, and I wrote it down and then just led on from there.
yeah,
It's almost
yeah.
like I was being drawn in that direction.
Guided,
Yeah,
pointed.
yeah,
Yeah,
pointed in that
yeah.
direction. And the funny thing was, even though I'd actually previous to that, so I listened to Sid, but I think previous to that, because I'm trying to backtrack on it, I'd actually come across another coaching academy that I was quite interested in because just sounded so authentic as well. And it actually touched on intuition as well, kind of
Okay.
spirituality, which is what I was looking for as well.
Yes.
Um, and but then once so I was reading a lot, and it was the New Insights Academy, and I was reading a lot into that. And I thought, oh, I found it. I found the coaching when I went. Then I come across it, and I thought, oh no, no, how was this going to fit in with it all, with beliefs and everything like that? Because beliefs just come from thought, and I thought, oh. So I was really, really sitting on the fence, and I think I been sitting on the fence for about 9 months, and I just didn't go with any of them. And that's when I came across Jacqueline from,
Oh,
joining the, yeah, yeah,
Jacqueline
yeah,
Hollis, yeah, who we're
yeah,
working with. Yeah,
from um, joining the Free Peas
yeah.
Global Society. That's when I came across her, and that's how we sort of had half an hour session, and that's because that was one of my questions as well. So as much as what I liked the sound of the coaching and everything like that, then my thinking started to and to a point where I just had to stop it. All these questions. Well, how am I going to get clients? And what if I don't get clients? And all this chatter going on all the
Mm.
time, to the point where I just said to me, I just recognized it for being what it was, and I thought, just leave it and just
Yeah.
see what happens. Yeah, yeah.
So, so that was how long ago when you first came,
That's probably about 9 months ago since
since you first
yeah.
came across David Keyes
Yeah,
and George
yeah,
Pransky, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so what I'm interested in, because there's two parts to this, I think. There's the, the idea
Mm,
that came before everything was that about being a coach, which
mm,
which is pretty amazing too.
mm,
Um, but then there's also the personal, um,
mm,
in terms of once you once you started looking at this particular field of coaching or psychology or whatever you'd like to
mm,
call it, this
mm,
conversation,
mm,
the three principles community or the inside out understanding, that sort of thing.
mm, mm.
What did you notice in your own life?
I noticed that my thoughts they started to quieten down because I could see where I was caught up in my own personal thinking, and that was, just creating the reality I was experiencing, and the stress I was experiencing as well. Because before coming across the principles, yeah, I was a deep thinker. I'd easily get stressed and anxious, and also what I noticed as well after the understanding, even though sometimes, and I probably still do, sometimes I can get lost in my own what I call it personal thinking. I know my awareness brings me back, so I know to come back to that quiet space and just basically get out of my own way, and and I've learned to sit with questions as well, and I've also noticed as well that I definitely am more resilient. So like before I came across the understanding, if there was a problem, I would just sit with it and I'd overthink it, overthink it, overthink it, and I'd get nowhere.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about deep thinking
Mm,
because that when you said that, the thing that comes to mind for me is another description of it, which is kind of worrying.
mm. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I did an awful lot of worrying. I always used to be worrying about the future, always worrying about the future, but now I don't. Because I understand that the only time we have is right now. I think it's that's when I did start to get a little bit confused there because I was thinking, okay, so we've only got the present moment and not think too much into the future. But I thought, well, and I was a bit confused. I thought, well, where does this all sit in? Well, if I want to, I'd like to be a coach. Where does this kind of all fit in? Because you're not, the idea is that you don't think too much into the future, but so I did get a bit confused with all of that. Yeah, 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 I did.
how does that look now?
I do again. I don't even try to think too far ahead with it. And even the like with the coaching, kind of a niche market, and I've learned to just I'm trying to do the same as what I did do before I came across all this. When I sat with that question, well, I wonder what I could do.
Yeah.
And even going back to then, job ideas would come into my head, but it was an immediate no. I just knew it was like no, no, no.
Yeah.
And and so I'm learning to do that with the coaching as well. Not think too much about it, and and just kind of like go with it. And I've been, asking that question. Well, kind of, I wonder what my niche market could be, and I wonder how, who I could serve or how I could serve them. So just kind of sitting with those questions.
Yeah, and I love that wonderment, because when you say I wonder,
Hmm.
that has a whole different energy to it, doesn't it?
Yes, it
It's
does. Yeah,
not,
I think it's a lot lighter,
yes,
and that's
yeah,
when.
and it's more open. It's more
Hmm.
open to possibilities,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
opposed to um I can't think of another word, but as opposed to worrying, if you wonder
yeah.
about something. And I mean, I was the same. I used to worry like mad about basically very selfishly which is what we do as human beings.
Hmm.
We have, you know, you have you on your mind all the time.
Hmm. Yeah, 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 yeah,
And I would worry about me and, growing old and alone and penniless and,
yeah, yeah,
all this sort of the stuff and but the thing is that still comes sometimes. That it isn't
yeah.
but what's so funny is that the moment I notice it, I don't have to change my thinking or stop
Hmm.
thinking it or anything. The
Hmm.
moment I notice it, it's literally just oh,
Hmm.
and then that's enough.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see that I'm just caught up in a story about an
Hmm.
imagined future, and
Hmm.
I have great imagination. So, and that's what I love about this. But it's also, I don't know, as a coach trying to share this with other people,
Yeah,
it's it's like it's invisible, you know. We can't touch
yeah,
it. We're trying to talk about something and
mm,
articulate something that you can't see. You know, you
mm,
can't, and it's when you talk about noticing something, that doesn't sound
mm.
very much, does it?
No, no, it doesn't. No,
But
no,
it's
no.
huge.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I know. I've got she used to be my manager actually, and she's a very good friend. And I talked to her about the principle. She did say, tell me more, Lorraine. So I did do, and she actually got a book, and she said, when you start practicing, Lorraine, with your coaching, she said, I'd really be happy. And
Yes,
yes, I'm going to get in touch with her actually this week and just say, right, so and
that's really
so
lovely.
yeah, so I've explained a little bit, and it'd be interesting to see how that goes because, I think it's bringing it in, being subtle about how you bring it in. I can see
Yeah,
she gets very, very caught up in her thinking.
I know. When I first started kind of sharing this, and it was a couple of years before I did because I couldn't talk about it at all without sounding
Mm,
like I was talking gobbledygook, you know.
mm, mm,
But I
mm,
have a very good friend um, where I keep my horse, and we ride together, and we talk,
mm,
and sh-
mm,
and I, and we would talk not about the principles per se, but
mm,
we would chat about stuff, you know, husbands, relationship, kids, work, whatever,
mm,
horses.
mm,
And we'd be very relaxed because we were wandering through the countryside on our horses, just chatting along. And I would talk about things that I'd seen and talk about things that I was learning and kind of and she's she just loved it.
mm,
And and she did the same thing. She started buying books and
mm.
and then actually she was very sweet. She organized a little group for me and we used to have coffee and things and
Yeah,
but it for me it was so because it was real practice, like testing. I didn't know
yeah,
I was practicing,
yeah,
but I was just speaking out loud about the things that I'd seen. And because she wasn't a client and she was a friend and it was all very relaxed, I didn't feel under pressure to perform or
yeah,
to, I didn't think I had to give value or anything.
yeah, yeah,
We were
yeah.
just discussing it. So I love that. I think it's a really nice way of exploring this and speaking, speaking out about what you've seen.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I know because I think my best way for with is through conversations because I was a bit like you, Sharon, when I first came across it. Oh my God, I was like talking about it all the time to the point where people were, Lorraine, can you not talk? I said, "Well, okay then, so I'm a bit more selective about who I talk to it about now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I kind of keep quiet about it.
Have
But
you noticed any differences, like in relationships, for example? Because that's been a big thing fa within my family, not friends quite so much, but particularly with family relationships and even my husband. In fact, I don't think I think we're married because of we only got
yeah,
married in 2021,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
don't think we would have if I hadn't found this.
yeah. Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, I've been with my boyfriend for what, 8 years now, and I could see that I was overthinking that. I mean, as they say, I can see that he's caught up in his own personal thinking, and I know I won't change that because so I'm 60 this year and he's 61. He's lived on his own. I'm like really the only long-term girlfriend he's ever had. He's never been interested more into his sports and everything like that. But people have said to me, I mean, for example, we've got a friend and he took his grandson into the pub one afternoon. And my boyfriend just went up to his grandson and picked up, his finger and he was talking to him. And Darren said to me, he said, "Wow." He said, "I've never seen that before, Lorraine." He said, "In all the years I've known him, I've never seen it." And then a friend whispered in my ear, Gareth said to me, he said, "That's your influence, Lorraine." And I think, yeah, I think I can see the changes in him, but yes, I can definitely see where it was my thinking. I would be like thinking, oh, well, he's not doing this or he's not doing that, or the relationship's not going anywhere, blah 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 blah. But I could see I was just caught up in my own thinking.
Yeah. And I think like it's not that I've coached my husband or anything. It's the fact that I'm different.
Hmm. Yeah,
So that
yeah,
ripples out.
yeah,
And
definitely.
you don't they don't have to, your um the way you change affects everybody around you.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's,
Yeah, I mean, it's never been. I mean, my relationships with my customers are still like they were because that's always been the same. But I mean, I've never been married, Sharon. I've never met, and until I met Jim, and yeah, it does
have you
was.
you
But
got a gym, have you?
yes,
I've got a gym
yes.
too.
Oh, really? Yeah,
We both got gyms. That's good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But and like I say, but just into when we first met, we just hit it off like a house on fire.
Yeah.
But it was just I'd cut about a month after breaking up from the children's father, and so it was it was bit soon, and I was like, no, 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 no. But then, my friend said, oh, just go, Lorraine, and just have a nice time and just go for a drink. But then you can't help, I suppose, falling in love. And then when you fall
Yeah.
in love, and so, but yeah, it's definitely, I mean, this weekend away was just so, so relaxed. But I mean, he says to me, he said, even now, he said, Lorraine, you overthink things. And he's got a real kind of, I like his outlook on life, really. It's quite sort of, quite childish. He's really good. He's really good fun to be with.
Well, that's
Yeah,
lovely.
makes me laugh. Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, definitely, I could see a lot of the time it was me before, probably, putting these demands on the relationship and what I wanted. And well, it's not going like this, but now I just, relax into it, and it is what it is, and just
Yeah.
take each day as it
Yeah.
comes and not look too far into the future with it, and just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah. I was just thinking that actually, I think, I don't know, because I've never been a hairdresser, but hairdressers are the people that you confide in.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
So it's not
And
that
that's
far apart, is it, really, when you think
the
about it? At least you'll be able to sit down.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is it. I know a lot of my customers, like they always say that to me. I mean, they do. They say to me, they can't, can't even talk to their own families like the way that they talk to me. They said you're just like a daughter as well. And I can remember one customer, I'll never forget. She was telling me something about a daughter-in-law, and I said to her, "So, what's really happening then is this?" And she sat there and she thought about it. And she said, "Yeah." She said, "How did you know that, Lorraine?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "It just came to me." And that was completely out of the blue. I said, "It just came to me." Have you ever thought about being a counsellor or a
Yeah.
psychologist? Or yeah, I've had that said to me quite a few times. How do I get clients? Where would I get clients from? And then, like I said, Mama J came up and, what we're doing at the moment. And I thought,
Brilliant.
yeah, that is just a great, and it's really giving me a lot of insights into how I can move forward with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely how I can move forward with
Ask
it.
the question.
Yes, yeah, and then you get your answers. So there you go. But then, like I say, and it's got me started thinking, yeah, actually, I do know two people that have actually approached me and said, Lorraine, you can coach me.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. And they're great as well, because I don't know how that would, really go, but you know, I'm pretty good at actually picking up on things with people. Quite intuitive actually, and kind of getting a direction as to where they're going in. So now, with more understanding of the principles, then hopefully I'll be able to, I'll probably see that they're just getting too caught up in the thinking and how that's sort of, having an influence on their present circumstances.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, hopefully, but you don't know until you try,
you don't.
and that's the
Well,
thing.
I think I'd just like to thank you for coming on and being I was going to say my first I have had another guest, Louise,
Yeah.
jumped on. We had a chat, which I haven't put in the school group actually. I Oh yes, I think it's in Jacqueline's group. I don't know. Anyway,
Mm.
thank you. And like I say, we'll have another chat in a few months'
Yeah,
time when you come back from
yeah,
Prague.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and yeah, thanks so much for sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you very much for asking me, Sharon. It's been a pleasure.
Okay. All right. Well, we're
Okay,
going to
then.
say goodbye now to
Yeah.
everybody.
Take care. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Just pause the recording.